All right, all right. Thank you for that good one, my able producer, uh, Mr. Dennis, Comrade Dennis. I respect you, respect to you. I salute you from here. Welcome to Humanist TV Africa. I am still your one and only Obasi Ikechukwu, the presenter of this show. Domiciled in Nigeria. Please do well to subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe on our YouTube and our Facebook at Humanist TV Africa. Please do well to support what we are doing by subscribing. All right, you can also write us on. You can also write to us. Yes, we are open to your guidance, to your guideline, to your suggestion. You can write to us at info at humanisttvafrica.com, or you send us a DM on WhatsApp plus 25 47 47 then 35 67 and 67. That is how you get to us. Once again, do well to subscribe to promote this hallowed TV channel where we promote critical thinking, where we promote critical thinking and make skepticism our culture, so that Africa may be mentally liberated, because mental slavery seems to be worrying our people. On today's edition of this report, with myself, with my humble self of Ikechukwu, we shall be giving you what is making the headline around Nigeria, where I'm domiciled, and the other part of the world. All right, let's go to the reports of the day. All right, the first report is coming from Humanist TV News. The first report is: when I banned my Bible last year, so many pastors and reverends said they gave me 7 days to die. Some gave me 4 days to die, but I still joined them today to enter their new year. Traditional religion activist Matthias Ezako. So this report is coming from Matthias Ezako, a controversial traditional religion activist in Nigeria. Yes, oftentimes, religious people and some believers use tribulations as a means to incite fear in people. They have made it, a point of importance. They have made it a point of importance that fear is what they used to reap. Sometimes they will tell you, you don't believe this, you are gonna die horrible death and all these things. So they use fear to actually, impose this Stockholm on our people. The Stockholm syndrome is getting so deep on our people that it is being sustained by fear. But when you remove fear, you can begin to doubt and oppose some of these things. Yes, when I became a free thinker, many people, foisted this glitch, this fear narrative. They foisted it at me, but I still, couldn't fall because I came up with a reprisal statement that I'm ready for anything. That if a person could actually, greet me without my consent, doesn't deserve my worship, given what is going on, natural disasters and everything. So I don't even owe anyone who, you know, create me into this world without my consent. This world full of discrimination, full of religious tension, full of banditry and terrorism, full of discrimination, full of hate. I cannot thank anybody that brought me into this world. So that was my tactically, made them to understand that I do not concede to fear of whatever they accept as their belief. So that was how I was able to do that. And this guy is also unique. This is a form of satirical statement, if I may note, because yes, he's satirical. He was trying to satirize the people that believe that penning his Bible would result to his death in 7 days. So he was just mocking them. It's a mocking statement, it's a mocking update. All right, moving away from this. Let's see another important report on our desk this afternoon. Um, all right, let's take this one. 30 people dead, thousands evacuated as earthquake hits Japan on New Year Day. This is a preposterous report coming from Sarah Reporters. There are lots of natural disaster here and there. There are a lot of natural disasters, and it is actually a thing to give a great concern to people. Yes, because natural disaster is something that causes mayhem to humanity. So, as a humanist TV, it's important we call on the world to look into some of these things. Yes, it is true that they are natural disasters. Still means that we can actually, curtail some of these disasters. There are still means human ingenuity has produced to curb this natural disaster. Please let's our environmental expert, dig out some of these means and help our society, because this is causing mayhem to humanity. So, and we as Humanist TV, we are always here to reach out to serve humanity, to show love to humanity. So we must talk against this incessant natural disaster. The countries of the world should go beyond thinking that natural disaster is anything connected with supernaturalism. You know, some time ago, Brazil experienced natural disaster, and some of our religious brothers, attributed it to superstition, to a kind of punishment from the. I don't understand. These people tend to present what they even believe in as a sadist. So a person like me, when you present some of these things, it makes me become more critical about some of these things you feed to me. Don't If you present some of these things as sadistic, so it will not earn my respect, because um, a supreme father should not be a sadist to such extent. I think my father here cannot even do anything to hurt me that much. We can only, if I provoke him, he can only sanction me, or he cannot go to the extent of making me experience such dreadful to have such dreadful experience as being trapped by earthquake. So that is why I feel that moving away from some of these alleged, some of this attribution of certain disasters to superstition, I feel that people should find a better means of embracing scientific knowledge to solving human problems. All right, moving away from this, let's take another important report on our desk this afternoon. Yes, another important report that is so devastating. Ugandan athletes stabbed to death in Kenya is such a devastating news to behold this afternoon. It's a devastating one. It's a devastating one. Uganda lost a legend, an important personality. I don't know what could have led to this dastardly act, to this dastardly act that is quite unfortunate. So we have to actually investigate. The security operatives to investigate into the death of a Ugandan athlete, because it could actually, mar your international reputation, and also it can bring country interstate conflict. The staff personality is a famous personality, and is also a pride, a representative of Uganda. So we should, the security operatives should investigate into this horrible act and fish out the culprit. Because I may remember how Lucky Dube was assassinated in his home at South Africa. So we shouldn't, have this regime where athletes, where our artists and our superstars are being subjected to, assassination or to murder. So we should actually look into this. The Kenyan government, I'm here to get a report from you as about your effort, as regarding your effort to fish out the culprits that stabbed the Kenyan, the Ugandan athletes. All right, I am here to get a proactive action from the Kenyan government. Sometimes this your lip service does not pay. You should go beyond lip service sometimes. When certain things happen, the government will just come up and pay lip service to things without taking proactive measures to ensure normalcy is restored. So you have to do something. I hope to get a more proactive, response from the Kenyan government in order to curb any interstate conflict. All right, moving away from this, let's take another important report on our desk. Advocacy group AFU calls on Malawi authorities to protect alleged witches, prosecute witchcraft accusers. Let me take it again. Advocacy group, that is advocacy for alleged witches, calls on Malawi authorities to protect alleged witches, prosecute witchcraft accusers. This report is coming from Sahara Reporters. It is now a topical issue in Africa. It is now an issue that raises concern that people are being subjected to jungle justice as a result of being alleged to be involved in witchcraft. And we have explained that it is impossible for witches to exist, given that I cannot have some of the powers ascribed to witches and I'll be suffering in Nigeria. If I have a power to teleport, I cannot be spending my hard-earned money on transportation. Yes, I traveled last week to and fro. I know how much I spent. Transportation is expensive in Nigeria, given that the fuel price is now high. There is hike in fuel price. So I cannot have such powers. I cannot have powers to fly as being ascribed to witches, and I will still need money to give to drivers for transportation. Please, if any such power exists, we can actually harness it and reduce transportation costs and reduce the cost of certain things. So I don't know why everywhere in Africa you keep getting news of people being illegally or being unlawfully killed or maimed as a result of these superstitious accusations. Because I don't know, it is quite alarming. You keep getting the news in Uganda, you keep getting it in Ghana, you keep getting it in so many African countries, and today is Malawi. And there's the superstructure of witchcraft accusation is Nigeria. They've even gone to the extent of, adding to the list the Benin's disappearance. That is a spiritual whatever. So it has resulted in a lot of mob action. But the government is not doing much to curb some of this mayhem, despite the fact that there are some laws that protects people from this this unspeakable superstition-based persecution. But the government is not doing anything about it because some of the agencies, some of the people that works in the various agencies, the police, the army, the state security services, the judge, some of the judges, and even the lawyers believe that some of these powers exist. So they don't free themselves to tackle some of these things logically because they believe some of these things are. So you cannot engage in cognitive dissonance of fighting against what you believe in. So that is the problem. That is why you know enforcement of section 210 sub B of the Criminal Code Act in Nigeria has become unrealizable because of the attitude of the agencies that are supposed to enforce these laws. So over to Malawi. So the Advocacy for Alleged Movement of Alleged Witches, an advocacy group in Nigeria, is calling upon you. Is calling upon you to do something about to end these accusations, to end this persecution that is superstition based, to end it and invite critical thinking to the public space because that would help liberate Africa mentally. All right, moving away from this, let's take another important report on our desk this afternoon. And that report is nearly 200 high profile names linked to US sex trafficking case to be Tuesday. Nearly 200 high profile names linked to US sex trafficking case to be made public Tuesday. This is coming from Star Reporters. The public should not be surprised on getting this information because there is no criminality in a country that thrives unless some high profile people are behind it. That is the point, because the high profile people will protect their syndicate and make it difficult for them to be caught. Even if they are caught, they will use, they will always maneuver, they will always manipulate things in the society. That is why criminality keeps increasing. Over times, we tend to hype in the United States and the UK, but I've said it continually. These people, in fact, in the face of greed, corruption, evil, every countries of the world are the same. Just that some of them use media paparazzi, sometimes they use media euphemism to euphemize some of their evil. So I'm not surprised if one of the high-profile names that may be released soon will be part of the leaders in the United States or anywhere in the world. So that is it. So let us not be deceived. There is no criminality, even the criminality, the terrorism in Nigeria, the banditry in Nigeria. If you do an investigative journalism, if you do an investigative research, if you carry out an investigative journalism of criminality in Nigeria, you will understand that some of the high profile, some of the big names are the ones funding this syndicate that makes them formidable. I think there is no terror group or any organization that will be above a country, a sovereign state, if there are no cartels within the government that are, bankrolling these people or that are promoting the criminality, the banditry, the whatever. And trafficking has become a topical issue that we need to address. Because I don't know, one thing about this world is that we rebrand things. We rebrand things a lot. Yes, we rebrand things. It is no longer a slave trade. We now shifted it to trafficking. But I feel that trafficking, human trafficking is a form of modern slavery. Human trafficking is a form of modern slavery. Whenever you sell humans for exploitative, for commercial reasons, it is slavery. That was what was meted out to our forefathers in the old by the Western people, by the imperialists, taking them out of here, out of their base, and taking them out of the country to use them to work in their various plantations exploitatively. It's the same thing that they do in the name of human trafficking. So there is nothing different. There's nothing different. There's no more difference between human trafficking and slavery. What I can just say is that human trafficking. Let me rephrase that human trafficking is a modern slave trade, while slave trade is an ancient or an olden form of human trafficking. So that is just the slight difference. The slight difference between the two is just the time it occurs. The other one occurs in the old time, while this current trend, human trafficking, occurs in this modern era. All right, moving away from this, let's take another important report. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. Sorry, let me take the report again. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus jailed for 6 months in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus jailed for 6 months in Bangladesh. This is coming from Star Reporters. You can also as well look up the report from Star Reporters and know why he has been jailed for 6 months. All right, let's move away from this and take another important report. Nnamdi Kanu battling internal bleeding caused by DSS torture needs urgent medical attention. IPOB raises alarm. Nnamdi Kanu battling internal bleeding caused by DSS torture needs urgent medical attention. IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, raises alarm. This is coming from Sahara Reporters. Oftentimes, I wonder why he will not be released. He should be released or granted bail, because I don't think right to self-determination is. I don't think right to self-determination is an offense. Yes, he should be released, and a political solution, as advised by the Abia State High Court last year, should be resorted to. There should be a political solution. I think the Abia State High Court last 2 years, 2022, made a ruling that he should be released, and that a political solution should be resorted to in line with some of the rules of the Federal High Court Act of Nigeria. So Federal High Court Act provides that political solution in any issue or any matter that has some political undertone, that it may be handled through political solution. That political solution may be resorted to handle some matters that have political undertone. I know treason is a political offense, and if you analyze it very well, some matters or some conducts that are termed treasonable are actually an agitation for self-determination. And as we know, self-determination is guaranteed under Article 20 of the African Charter on People's Rights. Charter on Human and People's Rights, which so many African countries actually ratified So you can actually, in fact, if you look at most treason cases, especially in Nigeria, you will discover that it has to do with seeking self-determination. If you look at Adakaboro's case, Isaac Adakaboro's case, you also look at Kensaro Wiwa, you also look at Iboho's case, and so many of them, you will discover that all the all the allegations, all the issues, all the conduct that the government think constitute terrorism, or sorry, treason, is actually, you know, exercising right to self-determination or seeking self-determination. All right, so I am calling on the government to release him to actually go for proper medical care. Because even if he, yes, he's an accused, but I feel that it's only the living that stands trial. It's only the living that stands trial. So you don't kill a person because he's been accused. After all, under the Nigerian law, an accused person is presumed innocent until proven otherwise. It's a constitutional right that an accused presumption of innocence. So it is until the government proves him treasonable that he may be, subjected to any penalty accrued to that offense of treasonable felon. But as it stands now, he is an innocent person, just undergoing trial. So a person must have to stand trial. So how a person, effectively stand trial is if his health are intact. If his health is intact, sorry. So I am calling on the government once again to release him, or to grant him bail, or to grant him medical parole, or to grant him bail on medical reasons. So that is what I'm calling the government to do. All right, moving away from this, let's take another report on our decks this afternoon. This important report. Yeah. Very, very. Okay. All right. Europe's longest serving monarch, Denmark's Queen Margaret II, announces abdication on live TV, names son as successor. Europe's longest serving monarch, Denmark's Queen Margaret II, announces abdication on live TV, names son as successor. This is coming from Sarah Reporters. Sarah Reporters is always giving us an important headline. You see, there is something that, just as I said at the show, there is something hypocritical about this life. There's something hypocritical. Do you know that it is in the European countries that we have a lot of sit-tight leaders? But they come to Africa to teach us democracy. They come to Africa to teach us lawfulness. Whereas it is in most of these European countries that you will see sit-tight leaders. Just that they rebrand. As I rightly said at the issue, we love rebranding things. I don't think there's any difference between monarchy and totalitarianism. They are the same thing. Totalitarianism and monarchy is the same thing. Because you sit tight in monarchy, especially in absolute monarchy, it is often hereditary. It devolves from family, from within the same family. Within the same family, it does not leave that family lineage. They continue with it. It is just like an inheritance to them. So, to be frank with you, the world is not even at ease. Let me quote one of Chinua Achebe's work, No Longer at Ease. That word covers what is happening around the world. Everywhere in the world, if you analyze it properly, you will discover that everybody is in trouble. Just as people tend to euphemize, use media to euphemize it and think everything is all right. The UK people, the European people are also in bondage in the bondage of monarchy, where a single family rules for years without anybody challenging it. You know that, look, military junta is even better than monarchy. Because a military junta, a military rule, there may be a coup. Another regime will topple another regime. Another army official will plot a coup and topple the other person. But in monarchical system, it is often not that way. Even when people like Oliver Cromwell did something, after what he did, monarchy was still tormenting UK, United Kingdom. That if it is here in Africa, if such things are happening in Africa, it is this hypocrite that will start shouting, oh, Africa, there is human rights violations in Africa. I'm not saying that two wrongs make a right. Yes, here in Africa, in fact, it's a logical fallacy for me to say that two wrongs make a right. No, two wrongs does not make a right. But we should call out it and criticize it, not criticizing this particular wrong and celebrating the other wrong. Two things are wrong, and you celebrate one and criticize the other. No, if both of them are wrong, you call the wrongs out and criticize both of them at the same time, and not being favoristic about criticizing wrongs. That is what is happening in our society. We are favoristic in in terms of tackling wrongdoings. In UK, there are wrongdoings. Heinous one, because I cannot contend the fact that a family has been leading UK and they have multiples of people in UK claiming that they are wise people, that they are exposed, and a single family have been the one running the affairs of UK. That you call it parliamentarianism? You don't even know that you are in bondage, that you are in political slavery. Yes, that you have been enslaved by monarchy. If they are talking about a liberal society, a society that is well developed, you come out. Yes, to a reasonable extent, you are developed, but in terms of this, your low mentality, they shame me. Your low mentality shames me. You can't allow a particular family to be at the ends of monarchical affairs in UK. You should actually tackle it, not always prognosing and looking for people to talk about their own palaver, leaving yours. If not for people like Oliver Cromwell that came up, you would have been in absolute monarchy now. But Oliver Cromwell fought. Yes, Oliver Cromwell opposed the idea of Thomas Hobbes that encouraged your absolute monarchy, your divine mandate monarchy. He opposed it. But after Oliver Cromwell, which other brave-hearted person in UK can speak up again? Nobody. Some of these things are in stages. So people should not sit back and spill conundrums without doing anything, claiming you are exposed, you are civilized, and a particular family have been in charge of the home affairs of UK. You are joking. You are joking. Because UK, I know, UK was also conquered by some Normans. Normans from France conquered UK. Yes. Was it not when common law was imposed in UK? We are all in trouble. All right, let's move away from this. Let's move away from this and check another important report on our desk. All right, let me take a breath before I give this headline. Okay, you will laugh if you listen to this particular one. Woman holding contribution money in Aba reportedly loses her memory. Can't recognize anybody. This is coming from Daily Times News that woman holding contribution money has lost her memory. You know, I don't know. Well, it's actually funny. It's actually funny anyway. It's a funny news. Okay, you should actually go to, Daily Times and look up that and know what the report is talking about. But actually, it is funny. All right, let's take this one. Let's take this important one on our decks today. Go hustle and make money. Nigerian lady says as she rejects her boyfriend's marriage proposal. This is coming from Daily Times. Go hustle and make money. Nigerian lady says as she rejects her boyfriend's marriage proposal. This is what it listen. It is not only religion that has denigrated our mindset, our thinking ability, social-cultural behaviors, social-cultural values, where some women have seen themselves folks. You will see a lady in the same age bracket with you, and she will expect you to achieve milestones while she fold her arms. That is the type of mentality our social life, our social cultural life, our social cultural values have, imbibed in this gender. It's why I keep saying it. As a humanist, I do not side any particular gender. I was purely feministic before, but I realized that humanism should respect all gender. So any wrong against the male gender, I speak against it. Any wrong against the female gender, I speak against it. I don't side any gender, no special. There shouldn't be any special treatment to anybody. When you do that, it becomes discriminatory. And under the Nigerian law or under all international laws and protocols, I guess discrimination, though it's in paper, I guess discrimination is an unlawful act. So as a person that wants to, maintain sincerity and standard, an equitable standard, I should always lean against anything that promotes discrimination. Though some of the persons that tend to preach some of these things don't even obey them, but then I will obey my own. I will obey my own advocacy. Because take for instance, I keep saying it on TV. United Nations Organization is one of the most hypocritical world organization I've ever seen. When you are protecting human rights and your policies is the first to violate human rights, why is it that you don't have any permanent member, African permanent member in your Security Council? That is hypocritical, going against what you propagate in some of your documents. So because of this mindset in our society, a lot of men are going through a lot. There are a lot of emotional blackmails. There are a lot of hustle go through a lot just to prove themselves, because these have become a societal expectation. That become a societal expectation. When you go to criminology or social criminology, you will discover, or sociological criminology, discover that there are three tenets. There are certain societal standards. There are certain standards that a person should live up to be regarded in a society. And some of those societal standards is what encouraged most of the female folks to think this way. Yes, last week we visited a colleague. I and my friend visited a colleague who happens to be a female, and as we were discussing, that my friend jocularly told that my female colleague that very soon will be coming to ask her hand in marriage. That Obasi will be coming to ask her hand in marriage. But did you know what the lady replied? That I'm not yet financially buoyant to maintain her. That is the mindset. It's not only among paupers, even our educated ladies. Some of our educated ladies reason like that because it's a societal standard that the man's money is the family money, while the wife's money is personal money. That is the general standard. Just that few persons have come up to refine themselves individually. But generally, the societal standard is that it should be the men that we go through a lot of pressure, emotional trauma just to make it. Why a lady will just be there, the family will teach her how to build a home, and a lot of them. That is why domestic violence is in the height of it. It is getting to the highest level. Domestic violence. Yes, because when the society trains you to become a nanny and trains the other gender to be the boss, you must play the role of a nanny. It's just as simple as that. So when we want to balance the society and reduce domestic violence, we should balance everything. We should not only condemn one side without trying to create a balance, strike a balance, make an equilibrium. So that is one nonsense about that is why we don't have a long lasting solution to things. We can only speak English, condemn any cases or any news of domestic violence we see, but we cannot go back to the microcosm and actually try to tackle the issues. Try to tackle, if it is in criminology, we call it criminogenesis or criminogenic factors. Those factors that propels criminality to happen. We don't, they don't tackle it. They don't tackle the causes, they only tackle the results. That is what we see in the society. But when we begin to tackle the causes, you will first of all educate our women to embrace financial independence or financial interdependence. It's better you have financial interdependence than to be financially dependent. Financial financial independence, okay. Financial interdependence, still good, but financial dependence is so wrong. So you cannot condemn one party or you cannot try to correct one party and the other party won't take corrections. It will bring about a lopsided solution. And a lopsided solution is a time bomb that will explode in future. All right, let's move away from this and take another report. Take another important report. Let's move away from this and take another important report from our controversial traditional religion activist, Matthias Ezako. He said, "For not only will Jesus the accuse Satan make him end, but for church, Jesus no the accuse Satan so that the business will continue." Matthias Ezako, traditional religion activist. This is true. This is true. This man is actually always giving people woto woto. So that is why at a time he was arrested by the Nigerian police because the Nigerian police are largely controlled by the religious leaders. Politics, religion has become a handmaid to politics. That is why some of the chiefs go to the church. And once you make friend with any of the clerics and he declares his support for you, the chiefs will follow the shepherd, the shepherd, which is the cleric. That is why most of these politicians lean towards the cleric and for political support. And this is a case of you rob my back, I rob your back. So when they have some of these politicians win elections, the politicians will keep mute while they defraud the society with their fraudulent teachings. All right, let's move away from this and take another one on our desk. Let's move away from this one and take another one on our desk. 67-year-old Nigerian arrested for defiling three girls in Adamawa reportedly tells police that he derives sexual satisfaction from fingering little girls. Ha! 67-year-old Nigerian arrested for defiling three girls in Adamawa reportedly tells police he derives sexual satisfaction from fingering little girls. This is preposterous. Don't you think this animal should be taken to the psychiatric hospital for psychiatric check? Because I can tell you for sure, this man has admitted being a pedophile. We have lots of pedophiles in Nigeria. But due to our attitude towards sexual offenses, we sweep it under the carpet and do nothing about it. Because let me tell you this truth, most of the people that are on top, most of the security agencies do some of these things secretly, because a lot of us suffer from pedophilia untreated. We don't take care of our mental health. What we go for is just physical health. I'm suffering cancer, I'm suffering malaria, I'm suffering typhoid, I'm suffering diabetes. That is the only thing we care about. We don't know that life is made up of two elements, mind and body. Mind also falls sick, because sometimes the mind do the major work. In fact, the physical cannot function effectively without the mind. It is the mind that controls the physics. It's the mind that controls the physical body. You cannot function effectively without your mind working effectively. So sometimes we just go for physical treatment, treating our physical body, physiological aspect of our body, without taking care of our mind. That is why the society has a lot of pedophiles walking around and committing crimes with these pedophilia tendencies. All right, moving away from this, let's see what our learned senior advocate has to say. Every Nigerian has right to bear arms for self-defense, but only wealthy people are given license. Falana is a senior advocate of Nigeria, and he's a human rights lawyer. He has come to say that he's right, that every Nigerian has right to bear arms for self-defense, but only wealthy people are given license. Yes, based on my average knowledge in human rights law, I actually understand that self-defense is a fundamental human right. It is embedded in Section 33, which guarantees right to life. Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution is amended, which guarantees right to life. Embedded in right to life is right to self-defense, because you cannot preserve your life where there is any threat to life if you don't defend it. You must defend your life in order to sustain it, in order to preserve it. Because you have right to life, in order to preserve it, you must defend it when there is a threat. And in Nigeria, there is no gainsay that a lot of security threats abound in Nigeria. That is the reason every Nigerian needed to protect himself. Because in the rules regulating self-defense in Nigeria, gives you a rule of proportion. Rule of proportion. What do I mean? Rule of proportion entails that the gadget you are using for self-defense should be proportional to the force used by the person trying to constitute a threat to your life. If the person used knife to threaten you, you can use knife to defend yourself. If the person used fist, you can use fist to defend yourself. Fist to defend yourself. If the person is using axe, you can use axe. If axe is at your own disposal, you cannot use knife and defend yourself against a person using gun. And if you look at our security architecture today in Nigeria, you will discover that most of the people that pose threat to our lives use gun. Look at the banditry in Plateau. Look at the kidnapping cases in Enugu. Look at the civil unrest in Kano. Look at how everywhere is so hemorrhaged by insecurity. And these insecurity syndicates bear guns. And you expect people to use hands, to use knife and defend themselves against them. No. As far as there is right to self-defense in our constitution, in our constitutional law, and some of the rules approved by the Supreme Court has it that the rule that what you are using to defend yourself should be proportional to what the attacker uses. If the attacker uses gun, you are to use gun. That is why the government not issuing license to the paupers and only issuing it to the rich class is discrimination, and it may be challenged any day. So I'm calling on our able senior advocate Falana to actually go beyond calling out the government for this. He may actually sue, may actually bring a public interest litigation against this attitude of the government. All right, let's move away from this. Let's move away from this one and take this other one. Michigan State Rep Josh Shiva declares that he works for God, not man. Secular news. Michigan State Rep Josh Shiva declares that he works for God, not man. All right, I don't have much to say about this because I know that most of these Republicans or most of these people, these believers are just delusional. That was why that man, Richard Dawkins wrote a book called God Delusion. He just got delusional. How you tell me that you are there for God? No. But when in times of election, you still come to human beings to seek their support. You guys are just delusional. You cannot call a spade a spade. Sometimes you make some of these political statements in order to, get support. Election is at the corner from the religious population, and why the religious population will sheepishly vote you in without knowing that you don't have anything to offer. That's why I don't like what religion has made people to become. You assess people based on their character, based on the values they have, not when they're pedo, they are this, they are that. Praise God. You don't support them. Or not when they are your church member or your denomination member. In Christianity, it is even so divided. There are a lot of denominations in the Christian world. So the only assessment is to know if this person is a Christian or a Muslim or is talking about God. Woe betide some of you. That is why we are suffering in this society. I don't want to say much about this. He's just a delusional politician trying to use a Machiavellian style. Use a Machiavellian style on the people. But I tell you, a critical thinker will know you are joking. You are joking because when the election starts, where do I know that most of the attributes, it is just anthropomorphic. Most of the attributes are just, it is just a Superman that is being, ascribed there as a God. So let us move away from this. This report is inconsequential to take our time because the man is just being delusional. Yes, this is another important report and a devastating report to the Humanist community. Humanist UK mourns the death of Camilla at 61. This is coming from Secular News. Humanist UK mourns the death of Camilla at 61. This is coming from Secular News. I don't know, it is a slap, it is a devastating news again that one important member from the Humanist from the Humanist community has given up the ghost, just as we lost our dear sister comrade, Linda Tilly, which is still hurting our mind. It's always hurts me. It's always devastating on me that Linda is no more. And now it is this report of Camilla of Humanist UK. All right, the family should accept our condolences. The Humanist TV joins hands in, extending our condolences to the family of the deceased. Family of the deceased is quite devastating. All right. Let's move away from this. And take this important one. Hamas leader thanks South Africa for launching genocide case against Israel at top United Nations Court, which is International Court of Justice. All right. All right, let's move away from this. Let's move away from this. Hamas and Israel matter don't tire me. Hamas and Israel matter don't tire me. If you like, you should continually, politically, and religiously decimate yourself. Increase the mortality rate. The world has now become an animal farm. I think I will always appreciate George Orwell for putting up that important book. In fact, most of these books are more predictive. They predict a lot. They predict more than all these pulpit bandits. George Orwell, I read his book. It was some of the things he predicted is now happening. Some of our political leaders, both nationally, domestically, and internationally, are the beasts of Ireland that he spoke about. Beast of England, beast of Ireland, beast of every land and clan, akin to my joyful titling of the good in future time. So I love George Orwell. He's always my idol. I love George Orwell. I love reading books. In fact, reading books are my deities. Books are my deities. I worship books because they educate you. All right, once again, we are live on Humanist TV Africa on today's newspaper report edition with my humble self, Obasi Ikechukwu. Yes, always as we are coming to the end of the show, you should always make sure you comment, subscribe on YouTube and Facebook at Humanist TV Africa. And you can also, write us. You can always write us on, info@humanisttvafrica.com, or you follow us on WhatsApp +25 47 47 35 67 and 67. All right, I am still your one and only humanist presenter, Obasi Ikechukwu, domiciled and vibing to you guys from Nigeria. All right, as I'm ending the show now, we shall be vibing to a sweet song. A sweet song, I love music. I'm a music addict. I'll be vibing to a sweet song released by a humanist child, released by a talented child from humanist school in Uganda. All right, thank you. We shall be right back for the next show on Secular Library. All right, thank you for being with us. Thank you, the producer, once again. Thank you, one love.
satamba minanyaya. I love you daddy, I love you mommy, I love my parents, I love you all. Abana tusigaba buti betu, itabana tusigaba buti betu, ngaba buti betu, abanyamanga mukwachuo, ababuti betu, abanyamanga mukwachuo, tubasikaye. Bakabona bona lebe yabana kubaka usibo kwa shanguda lebe shangu bimwere